Good day, young person at home. This is your favorite show on Radio Be the Best You Can Be on your number one hit music station, EBIS2. I am your dear brother in Christ, Ishmael Spesihle Kumalo. Young person at home, this show exists so that it can spur you on, so that you can stand before God one day and say, and hear the words, well done, good and faithful servant. And I do believe that those words don't come cheap. They actually, we have to work for those words. We have to earn them. So once we are here on earth, we need to make sure that we do that which God expects of us to do. And we want, as a show, to make sure that you live a life that is by design and not by default, because there are a lot of people who are actually cruising through life and they have no sense of purpose, no sense of direction whatsoever. So we want to make sure that as a young person, you can actually enjoy life and not enjoy life, because there are a lot of people who enjoy life, and when you ask them, every time they talk, they're like, no, we are just trying. You know, we shouldn't try. We should thrive. We should excel in all that we do. And in today's show, I want us to talk about entrepreneurship, and we will be profiling one of the young people, because I could have brought an older person who is probably 60, 70, or 80, and they would have told us what they did when they still had the energy, but that wouldn't encourage us because they're old. So if we bring young people to spur us on, then that will challenge us. But before we go there, Ecclesiastes chapter 11, verse 1 says, "Send your grain overseas, for after many days you will get a return. Divide your merchandise among 7 or even 8 investments, for you do not know what calamity may happen on earth." And the principle that I want to draw from this is this importance of us having multiple sources of income as young people. But maybe before I even get into preaching mode, I want to invite and welcome my guests in studio. Tez, good day. How are you doing?
I'm good, Ish. How are you?
No, life is good. What are you up to? And maybe for the listener at home, who is Tez? Help us understand who Tez is.
Tez is a young entrepreneur who first and foremost is a child of God.
Mm-hmm.
My entrepreneurship journey has been a up and down one. But more than anything, I'm grateful that I've made God the anchor of my life. I'm an introvert.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if there's something in between introvert and extrovert, but I'm somewhere in between there. That's me. I'm an adventurous person. I love traveling. I love creating content. I love spending time with my friends, doing lunches and dinners. I'm a simple person, minimalistic, aesthetic person. I think that's the simplest way to explain who I am.
Let's talk, maybe before we talk about business, content creation. In a world where we see a lot of people creating content, and actually the meaning of content creation for most people, it's nudity. What is your content creation look like?
My content creation is based mostly on aesthetics. I also mentioned minimalism. That's me. Simple, minimalistic, clean, natural, aesthetic. That's where I base most of my content on. I'm scared of, overexposing myself.
Mm-hmm.
I remember this one time I was speaking to this girl and I said, "Hey, how do you get to so many followers?" And she said, "Girl, sometimes you need to show the little, And I said, maybe it's going to take me so much time because I'm scared.
Yeah.
Scared.
But in terms of, because I think there's a very thin blurred line between content creation and walking your faith. And I'm saying this in the context of, recently we were watching the Olympics and I saw a lot of athletes who openly were pro-Christian. There were things that they could not do because it went against their Christian values. So how do we draw the line in content creation to say, hey, I'm a Christian first before I'm a content creator?
For me, I think more than anything, my thing has always been when people look at my life, I don't want it to be a thing of, how come, And I think also for me, one of my advantages is the Holy Spirit rebukes me a lot of times. So the thing of talking to God every day, it really helps, because there are times when I'll be like, okay, God, I'm trying to edit this and I'm not comfortable about A, B, C, D. And he'll be like, take it out. And I'm like, okay. then I delete it and I restart the whole thing. So for me, the line is drawn mostly because God rebukes me most of the time.
But also, when it comes to content creation, there's also a blurred line between content and reality, where I was listening to some ladies who wanted to go for surgeries because some of the ladies they see online, Instagram, have quote unquote boosted their bodies, changed their faces, changed how they look. How do we then create content without then making people feel like, hey, maybe I'm not good enough? Because that's what is happening with Instagram nowadays.
Yeah.
A lot of young people are looking at the content you guys put out and they're like, oh, maybe I'm not good enough, or I'm too dark-skinned, or I don't have enough in front or the back or whatever, so I need to change. So how do we then make the balance?
That's the thing about content creation. Also, the type of people that you indulge. For me, I'm most comfortable when I'm at my most authentic self. I'd like to consider myself the most realist plug or something like that. I hate putting things out there that are not real to me, because I come back and I ask myself, I'm like, are you really being honest with yourself? Before it's a thing where we watch content creators that put out their things out there. I think, like I'm saying, it's basically what you choose to indulge in. There are people who you follow and you don't know their backstories. There are people you follow and you have to check their backstories before you indulge in their content. That's where you find yourself, you're no longer comfortable in your own body, in your own skin, because you're watching this person's life and it's not real. So for me, that's why I like following authentic people. There's a girl I follow, she stays in a not so fancy place, but her content is amazing. And I love to see people move from 0 to 1 million. For me, I think that's where I draw the line. Like you see this person's life, you see their journey. And I don't like following content creators that have already made it. I try to avoid that. This one time I used to follow this girl. At some point, I could relate to her. And then when I started not relating to her, I chucked her out of my Instagram because I felt like, she's not where and it's not because I was lowering myself, but I felt like I don't relate to her anymore. I'm still in this season of my life, and she's way ahead. And as much as I take encouragement from her, but I didn't relate to her content anymore.
But you're not just only a content creator, you're also into business. And you, as someone who knows you personally, I've seen and watched your journey over the years. You've stuck through it, through thick and thin. So what sparked that interest to say, listen, how did you discover that you had an entrepreneurial spirit?
I didn't know I had an entrepreneurial spirit. I always say to people, I feel like it fell into my lap more than me actually going after it. Because to me, it started as a financial thing to me. I used to love having my nails done as a child, but I felt like it was ridiculous going to ask my parents, Mom, please can I have 200 in my Langeni to do my nails?
Are they that expensive? Oh, no, never mind.
200 is not bad.
For us guys, it is.
But, when I was in Form 5, I felt like, it's a bit ridiculous asking my mom or my dad to give me money just to do nails. And I come from a family where we are lucky enough to be blessed with talent and gifts and skills. So I realized that, I can actually do this thing. It's very simple. So it started as a hobby more than anything. I would do my nails on my own spare time until people saw the talent and they said, hey, you're really good at this. Why don't you try it out? And I felt like, nah. I don't think I can actually, do it like in that intensity, but it then eventually became a hobby, and then it became a financial breakthrough for me, and I'm still sticking it out.
So maybe for the listener or the person watching us on YouTube, can you clarify what line of business you are in so that they can understand?
So I'm in the beauty industry at large. I'm a nail technician, self-taught nail tech. I've been doing it since 2017. So basically, I provide nail services, gel application, acrylic, rubber base, polygel, just, all of the nail stuff. So in simple terms, I'm a nail technician.
And for self-education here, so what's the difference between manicure and pedicure?
Well, people always confuse this. That's why I said gel application, acrylic, and da-da-da-da. I can do manicures and pedicures, but I still feel like I need to upskill myself a bit more on that. So a manicure is basically a service where they cut your nails, trim them, clean them, massage, soak your hands, scrub them, add a bit of salt and, hand scrubs or whatever, apply lotion. It's basically like a massage, but for your hands. That's what a pedicure is. Manicure. Same with the pedicure. They soak your feet in water, they scrub your feet, all of that. They cut your calluses, your ingrowns, they massage, they scrub, paraffin soak if you want that. That's what a pedicure is. It's also almost like a massage for feet. So people normally say, can I do a pedicure? And I say, a pedicure is that whole process. But if you just want a gel application, that's what it is. People always confuse the two.
So manicure, pedicures are the reasons why married women just want to get away from the house.
Exactly.
Okay. Now it makes perfect sense.
That's the ultimate goal.
Young person at home, if you're still tuning in, you are listening to EBIS2, and this is your favorite show on Radio Be the Best You Can Be. We are actually discussing entrepreneurship with Tezulu Dlamini, Tezulu actually, right?
Tezulu,
Yeah.
yes.
I call you Tez all the time, so I even forget your name. Proverbs 10 verse 4 says, lazy hands make for poverty, but diligent hands bring wealth. So that's what we are about, young person. We want you to be diligent so that you can have wealth. And what's your niche market? Who are you targeting? Because I know with being a nail technician, yes, we all have nails, but not everybody will come to you. And you don't want to attend to everybody. Who are you targeting?
When I first started, it was basically young people, my age, my friends, people around that age. But my niche has grown so much. Most of my clients are your working class, your middle-age groups. I could safely say I tap into most of the age groups. I have your students, I have your working class, I have the older age range, I even have men, So I can safely say I've touched into most of the different age groups,
One of the things that a lot of young people complain about or bemoan is the fact that they can't raise capital for their business. How did you raise yours?
When I first started, I was doing a radio show, MTN Educare Radio. I was an anchor, which was an educational show. We were doing pre-recordings for a show that we're going to host over the year. So my first payments, not my first payments, some of the payments I got from that show, luckily enough, it came at a time where I had just realized this talent. So I used some of the money to buy a few things, and over time I was able to feed back into the business. And then luckily at some point when I was doing mostly not necessarily outreaches, but like fates and those school activities, my mom realized the talent and she said, you're really good at this and I want to invest in you. So she invested, I think about 8,000 at that time, mostly because she wanted to buy the outdoor equipment for me, which was a gazebo, chairs, ottomans, tables, But it's safe to say that I was able to balance the capital invested by my mom and the money that I invested as well after getting payment from the show I was doing.
So would you therefore encourage a young person who wants to venture into business to say, hey, use whatever avenues that will allow you to raise money and then take that money and use it as capital instead of relying on someone to come and fund your business.
Definitely. Definitely. I look at myself and I say, in as much as my mom invested in my business, which was great, but I was able to use also my resources to do something for myself. I started working from home, which is another way of just start. Wherever you are, start, you know. Working from home now doesn't work for me, but back then it was amazing for me because that was the only working resource I had. So just start. 500 in Malangeni, 1,000 starts. I started with, I think it was 600. Yeah. I went to Clicks and I got the stuff. Yeah.
But maybe, could it be that a lot of young people don't want to start because they're afraid of starting small? What's the beauty of starting small?
It's the journey. It's the end product. I feel like it doesn't end. It's just the journey. You know, people can relate to you. People can look up to you. You can be an example for other people that want to do that. That's the journey of starting small, which is why even with the content creation, I mentioned that for me, I love to see people upcoming. I love to indulge in people whose journey I can relate to because that's where I'm at also. So starting small is fearful because you look at these big guns and you say, when am I ever going to get there? But it's possible.
Talking about, I remember the one time that I went to Mozambique and I was visiting relatives. It was in the middle of the night and this lady wanted to have her nails done. Just a phone call away and the guy popped up within 30 minutes and they were there servicing this lady, walked away with big bucks. Well, it looked like a lot of money, but it was a Medicash. I realize now that, you know, often at times as young people, it's not that we don't have the resources or the ability to start, it's that we want to start big. And that for that we should change ourselves. But maybe what are some of the challenges that you have faced in this journey?
Oh, the first one is customer service. Working with people is so hard. And SMEs get bashed a lot for this, you know. And I always say to people, we have big companies in the country. Why don't you guys bash them also? Just because I'm on my own, I'm the financial manager, I'm the marketing manager, I'm doing everything on my own. So my biggest challenge was working with people and making myself realize that it's not their fault. You know? And as much as it's hard for me, it's not their fault. I came up with this idea and I am offering them the service. And as much as I'm doing everything on my own, they want a service and I need to be good. So my biggest challenge has been customer service. And I always say to people, it's not that the customer is always right. The customer just has a right. I'm telling you, the customer just has a right. They have a right to speak. They have a right to mess up your day. They have a right to complain. The customer may be very wrong, but it's just that we've been told, yeah, the customer's always right, so I have to. No, the customer's not right. They just have a right. So that's been one of my challenges. And the other one has been the financial part of it, you know, where you see the dream, you see the goal, but getting there, it's like, whew, how am I going to get there? I need the money. I need, you know, and it's like not lump sums of money, but it is money that's grand enough for the dream, but it's just like, when am I getting there? How am I going to get there? You know? So I think those are the two main ones.
How do you stay sane, though, in that process? You've had a difficult customer. The next customer is a pleasant customer or a return customer. How do you transition and remain sane in between sessions?
I think it's, for me, it's my character.
Okay.
Yeah. And I always say to God, I think my clients are blessed to have someone like me. You know, I've taught myself that whatever happens at the nail table stays at the nail table.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're not the kind of person who will get home and be moody because it was a rough one at work?
It happens. But, and that's when my parents will be like, hi, are you okay, Sissy? How was work? And I'll tell them, you know, it's better with my parents because I mean, with them, they are worried about their daughter. But when it comes to my clients, it's almost like I have to quickly, shake up myself and transition into the next client, So I've tried. I used to cry before, and it would get to a point where I wanted to give up.
And that's maybe the question that I want to ask. In the midst of that, when it gets painful, because business can be painful sometimes, when you are investing but there's no return, how do you keep yourself motivated to say, listen, I'm in it for the long run?
I think it's what you're saying, the goal. What is the goal? What is the dream? Also, I want the money. So why am I giving up now? Just because I've had a lousy week, I know next week it's going down, And for me, I'm mostly fully booked most of the time.
Okay.
So I've been blessed enough, and I said to God, there'll be times when a client will cancel, and for me, that's just resting time. It's gotten to that point where a cancellation doesn't really bother me that much. It's resting time because I hardly rest. Okay. But the reason why I never gave up is because I really needed the money, and the goal was this thing is going to be huge. And having to hear people speak into my life, pour into my life, speak into my dry bones, prophecies, men of God, saying, this is not just only a talent, but this is a way of God throwing you into the ocean of women who are like you, women who have nothing. Women come to you not only to get their nails done, but they come to you because there's a certain, anointing upon your life that you need to share with the women in the world. So that's one other thing that kept me going.
And you raise an important thing that a lot of young people take for granted, the fact that it's not just a business, but it can be a ministry too. Because a lot of, as you rightly say, there's a woman who's coming to have her nails done, but she lives with more. She offloads. It's a moment where she may encounter God. It's a moment where she can even get to know about God for the first time. But for somebody, they may just think about it as just business. Wow. And maybe in terms of mentorship, any people that have, I know you're self-taught, but any people that have mentored you, that have helped you structure the business and just put processes in place?
I can't really pinpoint one person. And this is crazy because even since high school, whenever we'd write compositions about, my mentor or a person I look up to, I used to struggle. Because for me, I've always been that child that takes every good thing in every good person I come across. I think that's the one thing that has shaped me or mentored me a lot. I don't have a specific person or specific group of people. I'm very much into good women, but I'm one person that takes every good thing from every good woman or every good man I come across.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do you believe are some of the mistakes that a lot of young people are making as they embark on this entrepreneurial journey that is resulting in them not fulfilling or having their business become successful?
Dishonesty. Not only with yourself, but also with your clients.
Okay.
Purpose. What's the purpose of you doing this?
Okay.
Lack of consistency, lack of reliability, and time. Yeah, that's, those are my pointers.
It's funny you talk about consistency and just reliability. I had hired a car to help us do something this past week. The guy promised to be there at 9, ended up coming at 2. It messed up my entire day.
The entire day.
Literally ended up, actually, as a matter of fact, I'm not even ashamed to confess, I ended up not working that day because my day was messed up. I just couldn't have a chance to do anything.
Yeah.
So I guess, and it's important maybe for young people to appreciate the value of professionalizing their art, their business.
Yeah.
Well, I'm even thinking, you know, how as young people, you start a business and somebody calls the number that you've put up on the poster and there's nobody to take that call.
Or you don't return.
Or you don't return.
Yeah.
Yet you call yourself a business. You know, and how do you then market your business? What's the, or maybe let's start with the value of marketing, and then you can talk about how important it is to, or how you go about marketing your business.
My best form of marketing has been through interaction, word of mouth. In as much as I do have social pages, but which goes back to what I say about character. My best bet has been my character hand in hand with my, what do I want to say? My character hand in hand with word of mouth and customer service.
Okay.
Yes. The way I treat my customers, I hardly post reviews and all of that. I was actually thinking about it the other day. I'm like, I hardly post reviews. But I have a lot of people come back to me telling me, oh, I saw the lady at the office, you did her nails last week, and I'm here today. Next week, my friends are getting married, I'll bring her here and her bridesmaids. For me, mostly my marketing is word of mouth. I don't even know if it's a big thing, you know. And I remember, which is a blessing for me, my Instagram page was opened right in this church by a friend who we used to do women of honor, ladies of honor with. She saw the potential and she said, girl, you need to open a page. And I was so scared. I said, but it's not good enough, you know. So another thing I would say is post your work.
Okay, yeah.
Post your work. You know, post it, put it out there, speak about your work, speak about your brand as if it's the biggest thing to you, you know, and the way you treat people will always come back into your business.
What are some of the principles that guide how you live your life as an entrepreneur? I know there are people who say, for example, I know someone who's so committed to their Christian faith that when they had an opportunity to open a bottle store next to their business, they refused. Actually, their business, that bought a franchise, and the franchise came with the opportunity to open a bottle store, and they refused that it goes against my principles. So what are some of your principles that you live by?
Honesty, I guess, in as much as it's difficult, because business, hey. You know the trick with business, how, you know, business is like a gamble. You need to place your bets here and there. But I've been very honest with myself and with my businesses. I think that's one thing that has also helped me, the honesty. If I can do something, I will do it. If I can't do it, I will tell you, I can't do that. So for me, it's just been the honesty with myself and also in the craft that I'm doing. Time. I'm very adamant on timekeeping. That's another principle I keep in my life with my friends, my family, everything. Time. Very adamant on timekeeping. And also the principle of, I always feel like what I pour into my business or what I pour into my clients, they pour back to me. So I think it goes hand in hand with the honesty, I guess, you know. I've always said another thing that breaks small entrepreneurs is I go back to the consistency and the reliability. I'm a consistent person. In as much as I have trouble with texting, but I know if you call me, you will find me. So if I lack this side, I'll be consistent with the phone calls.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you were to partner with anybody in the world, who would it be? Anybody, famous or not?
Oh, I've never really thought of that.
Okay, let me make it easy for you. What's the plan for the business? Where do you see the business going in the next 5-20 years?
5-20 years. I could tell you about a year's plan.
Okay.
But I feel like now I'm overexposing.
No, you can be as vague as you can possibly be.
So I'm in the process of transitioning my business from a small enterprise into something slightly bigger. It may still be small because of the...
but there's expansion happening.
Yes, exactly. So that's what I plan on doing in the next... between end of this year and next year.
So how many employees will that take in? How many employees will that have?
I think 2 extra employees.
2 extra.
And
How many do you have
1
now?
partner.
How many employees
I
do you
don't have.
Okay.
I'm on.
That's incredible growth. And what will that process look like? What impact would it have on you once the business grows?
It'll ease the load on my shoulder. It will increase the creativity and talents coming into the business. Because not only am I getting extra helpers, but I'm partnering with someone. She's very good when it comes to, she's very active, she's very hands-on, she's very good with sourcing things, she's very, I'm very good with the other stuff. Like, I'm sitting down, I'm in the admin, So it'll really ease off the work, it'll take off a lot of work on my shoulders, it'll expand the creative aspect of the business. Getting the help will allow me to cool down a bit.
If a young person were to read a book and you were to recommend a specific book for entrepreneurs, what book would it be?
This one
Or
book.
podcasts, or whatever,
Podcast.
or book, podcasts, or even a sermon on entrepreneurship that has really spoken to you and has helped you in your journey.
I used to like Mbumi. Yeah, I used to listen to Mbumi a lot. There's also a book I read, I think it was Branson, about business. I've read that book also. So far I think it's somewhere there.
In your prayers at night as a businesswoman, what's the one prayer you pray, or what sort of impact would you want to have on young people?
My greatest thing that I always say, I always want young girls to look at me and realize that you can do it without having bending over backwards for a man.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's talk about one of the things that a lot of young people, especially ladies, is the issue. You spoke earlier about the issue of compromise, not only on the quality of your work, but also compromise in the sense of principles. Where do you draw the line for you in terms of your business and compromise? Can you, if somebody were to bring $1 million now and say, let's invest in the business, but I want you to flout this rule or this principle, is that even viable for you?
I think it goes back to the authenticity. I know my goals, I know my vision, and I love women a lot. So in as much as it may be tempting, I'm an older sister, I'm the first daughter. It goes beyond just me. I'm a child of God. There's people that look at my life and they say, so I don't want to speak, but I want my life to speak for me, you know.
Yeah.
So it's just that for me.
How do you see this business journey transforming your family? Because remember what the Bible says, a good man leaves an inheritance for his children's children. How do you see this impacting on your family?
Oh, I do. I do. The simplest and funniest one is just the expansion will keep my sisters busy. Yeah, just the beginning. And as a firstborn daughter, my biggest thing is obviously provision. You know, my parents have poured into me, and the least I could do is pour back into them. And as a firstborn daughter, I have siblings looking up to me. So I wanted to get to a point where if whatever happens in life, they can always fall back into my field. They can always find a way back into doing something because of the grace upon my life.
You have maybe 60 seconds. If you had to give a message to an entrepreneur, either in your field or any other field, what would you say?
Start. Don't let fear get in the way. Fear for me has crippled me so much. But the minute you start fearing, just know that the door is literally about to be unlocked for you. Once you fear, just know that you've made it. You are there. Start. Just do it. bet on yourself. Talk about your work like it's the best thing in the world. People will listen not because they see it's, your work is good, but the way you speak about your work, people believe that. So just start.
What does, let's end on a lighter note. What does Tema do for fun?
I love traveling.
To fancy restaurants and whatnot?
Fancy restaurants, visiting new places. I'd like to believe I also come from a very sporty family, so I enjoy swimming, quad biking, those kind of things. I'm quite adventurous, not hiking. I hate hiking. But those things, bungee jumping, I love creating content, like I said.
Yeah.
I just love doing that. Even chilling on my own, I think that's one of the best things in the world because I'm always busy. So I love.
Do you also use your travel time to also learn and interact with other people in your field of business, or it's just leisure?
Most of the time it's leisure, but when I get a chance to travel for business, I do.
Okay.
I tell myself that every year, at least once a year, I must attend a training that has to do with something, the field of my work.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, young person at home, I hope that you have been inspired by that conversation. I hope that you are going to start, because really that you need to do that. Maybe before we go, your socials.
Oh, at Honey Who Did Your Nails, but it's Honey with a U, H-U-double-N-Y, Who Did Your Nails, and Tezulu, Tezulu.
That's what, Facebook, Instagram?
It's Instagram. I'm not on Facebook.
Oh, Instagram only.
Yes, Instagram and TikTok. Tezulu.
And for those who want to have their nails done, any physical location?
I'm currently located at Checkers Business Park, inside Authentic Salon, which is shop number 4 in Babane. You can find me on my socials at Honey Who Did Your Nails, or call me on 7841-5262.
Well, young person at home, do be inspired. And for the gents who are listening to this, and if your girlfriend's birthday is coming up, hey, check out Honey Who Did Your Nails, and you will not be disappointed. Well, that's my lot for the day. Till we meet again, nakupenda sana. God bless.